Hey, what's up everybody? And today we're gonna make a cocktail that they say can cure what ails you, and it's called a painkiller. It's a rum-based cocktail that may or may not have been a riff on a pina colada. And what's interesting about this drink is that if you were to make it the wrong way in the wrong place, you could actually get into legal trouble. But we are not gonna do that. We are gonna play by the rules. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button if you want more Drinks with Dave. And now let's go make a painkiller. Yeah. Let's go make a legal painkiller. Okay, so the painkiller's origin story begins in the 1970s in the British Virgin Islands on a little island called Jost Van Dyke. And on this island was a small beach bar called the Soggy Dollar Bar. And the reason they called it the Soggy Dollar Bar was because there were no docks to get there. So if you wanted to go have a drink, you had to get off your boat and swim or wade your way through the surf to the beach, and by the time you got there, your money would be soggy and wet. Now during the mid-70s, this bar was owned and operated by a lady named Daphne Henderson. And she wasn't the original owner, but at that point she was locally famous for serving up the bar's signature cocktail, and that was the painkiller. Now the painkiller is similar to a pina colada in that it has rum, pineapple juice, and coconut, but it also has some other ingredients that make it its own unique cocktail. And what those ingredients were, nobody knew at the time because despite people coming from far and wide to come and have this drink, Daphne refused to share the recipe with anybody. Which makes sense because why would you give up the ingredients or the recipe to the drink that people literally jump off their boats to come and get? Now one of these people that visited the bar was a man named Charles Tobias. And he was an avid sailor, he owned restaurants, and he also ended up being the founder of Pusser's Rum. Now Charles and Daphne eventually became friends, but just like everybody else, Charles really wanted to know what was in the painkiller. And no matter how hard he tried, Daphne would never reveal the recipe. So after years of trying, he decided to play it a little bit dirty. And as legend has it, one afternoon, he snuck a painkiller out of the bar, out onto the beach, onto the surf, and then he swam to his boat, took it home to his kitchen, and there he toiled about and basically reverse engineered or deconstructed her cocktail. And he must have thought he landed on the exact recipe because exactly a week later, he returned to the bar and he proudly boasted that he had figured out the puzzle and knew how to make the drink. So he had Daphne make one and they tasted it and it wasn't exactly the same. So then naturally after that, they decided to do a blind taste test with 10 people from the bar. And as the story goes, his won unanimously. Everybody liked his version better. And he must have been pretty proud of himself because it didn't take long before he was visiting other bars and sharing his recipe and bragging and even selling it at his own restaurant. And in 1979, he got the rights to the British Royal Navy's rum recipe, the recipe they used to, give to their sailors, and he started Pusser's Rum. One thing led to another, and by 1989, Pusser's Rum had successfully trademarked the name Painkiller. Now what this means is that, let's say you own a bar and you put a painkiller on your menu and you don't use their rum, you could actually get into a lot of trouble. It wouldn't be an official painkiller and they could come after you with lawyers, which is kind of crazy. In fact, there was some controversy a few years back where a bar called Painkiller ended up getting sued by Pusser's Rum and they had to change their name to PKNY. And this upset a lot of people, and understandably, the whole idea of trademarking cocktails seems kind of strange, and people in the industry, they tend to stick together. But I'm no expert on legal matters. What I do know how to do is make drinks, and today we're gonna play by the rules, and we're gonna use Pusser's Rum to make this cocktail. And so let's talk about the other ingredients that go into it too. To make the painkiller legally, we're gonna need rum, pineapple juice, orange juice, cream of coconut, and nutmeg. The rum, obviously Pusser's, and this is a replica recipe that they used to serve sailors in the British Royal Navy up until around 1970. That's when they quit serving it. Juices, obviously fresh squeezed is best. If you can't get a fresh squeezed pineapple juice, then make sure you're using a no sugar added. For the orange juice, I used Cara orange because it has a distinct flavor that I think adds to the cocktail. Coco Lopez is the cream of coconut that I'm using, and this is basically a bar standard. If you're not gonna make your own, This stuff is honestly awesome. And the nutmeg is for grating on top. So let's go build a painkiller. Okay, this is gonna be made with crushed ice, so you're gonna wanna crush some ice ahead of time. Okay, to get started, we're going to use our mixing tin. And to that, we are gonna add 2 ounces of rum, 4 ounces of pineapple juice, 1 ounce of orange juice, and 1 ounce of the cream of coconut. Then add our crushed ice. Then we're just gonna give this a very quick shake for about 3 to 4 seconds. Any glass will work, but I like to use low balls for my painkillers. Then we're gonna add some fresh ice to the glass. Just fill it about 1/2 to 3/4. And then strain the cocktail over. You get a little bit of air bubbles from the crushed ice. Just let those come up. Like to garnish with 1/2 an orange slice. Again, I'm using these caracaras and I really like their color. And some pineapple fronds. And finally finish with a little fresh grated nutmeg. Give it a straw, you're good to go. That there is a painkiller. What's not to love about that? Yum. This drink will transport you to the beach. It almost kind of looks like a little sandy beach with the nutmeg on top. And it's a completely different experience than a pina colada, because some people would say, oh, it's very much the same as a pina colada. But you can really taste the rum in this. I feel like in pina coladas, especially when they're blended and everything, you use it like a light rum. You can't really taste the rum. If I were to make this my own, I think I would cut back on the pineapple though. I think I'd probably just go with 2.5 to 3 ounces of pineapple for the 2 shots. Let the record show that I made it correctly. I don't want anybody coming after me because I'm gonna call this video a painkiller video. That being said, I guess that's it. I'm done. On to the next drink. Cheers.